Christmas special. I haven't much to say. I haven't got a Christmas song, so this will have to do. Yes, this will have to do.
My name's Nigel, and welcome to Songs Nobody Asked Me For, my podcast. And this is kind of this is my Christmas special. I thought I'd add this, a Christmas special. You have to do a Christmas special, and I think, and I really don't have a clue what I'm going to say in a Christmas special, except that I've decided to locate to. I'm in the Cornish countryside here, and I thought I have a woolly hat on, which kind of, you know, for those of you watching me, I have a woolly hat on. For those of you not watching me, I have a woolly hat on. And it's cold, but actually just at this moment, it's quite nice. We've had mainly pissing it down weather the whole bloody time for the last couple of weeks. And it's nice to momentarily be in a space where the sun's out, really. And you know, the other Christmas, I guess, as my beard gets longer and as I get older, it gets whiter and whiter. So, you know, I've got a bit of a sort of, but I don't think Santa's sporting a goatee at all, really. But you know, that's it. And I got woolly jumper on, so I got woolly jumper, woolly hat, and my beard is a bit white these days. So you're going to have to make the most of that, really. I've been in quite a reflective space again. Well, it's always me, isn't it? But just thinking that I feel quite good just as I get to this point of the year, really. And what we tend to do as a band, and I say tend, we've done it for the last 2 years, and I think it works quite well, is that we and there's a number of reasons for doing it. Firstly, towards the beginning of December, I say, like, that's the last gig we're doing until the new year, and then we try not to be doing another one until maybe mid-February. Now, that started with me a little bit because I'm still one of those people that gets a little bit nervous about catching one of these really horrible colds and bugs and COVID. And I had a really bad one, as you won't remember yet because it's later on in the podcast. I'm doing this one very much impromptu. It's kind of, 8th of December. So I'm doing this a couple of weeks before it's due. I'm popping it in, inserting it into the order of service, as it were. So I did have, a month or two ago, really, really bad chest cold. Went on my chest. One of those ones I was coughing so much that my stomach muscles really started to hurt. And then it's stayed in my throat for ages, and still do have a little bit of a sort of phlegmy throat in the mornings. Phlegmy, that's a good word, isn't it? So that's partly how it started. And then I also think, you know, there's almost like a little sort of program and process throughout the year in which we're looking for gigs. We play gigs. We have to get ready for gigs. But we want to record once or twice a year, probably once a year, maybe twice. And to do that, you always want to be on top of your game. You want to be on top of what it is that you're doing. And so I take December and January to send the guys new songs, 3-4 songs, to say, look, these are new songs. We do sometimes do another one in the middle of the year, but you know, that's quite a useful time to be thinking about that, really. This time, December, January, really. So I've done it again this year, and so I feel in both a nervous and an exciting place, really, or excited place, because the nervous bit is, you know, we'll talk more about songwriting again in the new year, I think, but I get very anxious about what I present to the guys. And I think the thing with it is you get a really strong vested interest in something you're doing. You know, you kind of get to that point of thinking, I love this, I really want to do this, this is important to me. And then you want other people to like it. And the first place that goes is sending it to the guys in the band. And that's fine, that's my filter, you know. But you get very invested in a new song. And the idea that either it just won't work out, which I've had it from time to time. Mostly I don't mind. There was one song we did last year. I really thought it had real legs. And one of the guys couldn't get into it. We did one rehearsal of it, which sounded really good. And it never got anywhere. And I have to let go of these because there's plenty of other really good songs that have come out of it. But I've sent them 2 new songs. And then I've got 2 other songs to send them that aren't quite finished. And I'm quite interested in, well, you won't know this yet again, but I've been trying this experiment with one of the songs. Every time I'm writing on it or working on it is doing a video of me doing it rather than a audio recording. so that I'm going to try and do an episode at some point on me writing a song right from the very beginning through to when it ends up with the band. I don't know, it's fancy. whether that will happen or not, I don't know, but it's a fancy idea, isn't it? The other thing I'm anxious about is because obviously we have well, again, you don't know this. It's so difficult trying to keep in these two places. We have a new drummer. I think maybe I've talked about us wanting to get a new drummer. Gray hasn't left us. I'll be talking about this in future podcasts, but Gray has always wanted to be a percussionist, really. And he's done a wonderful job with us. And we hunted, and you'll hear the story of that. But we found a drummer, and we got a guy called Tim joined us. He's a really good drummer, and Gray's really enjoying the percussion. So we're a 5-piece now. Really excited about that. But it means I'm sending new stuff to somebody I've never sent new stuff to before. Although I think one of the things Tim's enjoying is he's in a function band, a band that sort of plays at functions and does a lot of covers. And his background in that, I think, is playing sort of, my understanding, sense of that is funk and soul and disco and that sort of stuff, which is ideal for us because he's really good at those beats. But I think he's done that for a long time, and I think what he seems to be really enjoying is a new challenge and us bringing new stuff to him. And in particular, he's looking forward to new songs because he's enjoying, he's got to work out songs that we've already got, how he plays them. We give him lots of license in that, as I do with all of the band, to sort of say, well, look, this is how it was. I wonder how this is going to be, So the early days, the funkier our songs really, really are going down well. And for me, that's fine because that's where I'm headed, Some of our more indie type of songs have been a bit more of a struggle. I don't mind that. It's interesting. It's often the other way around with drummers that I think they can do a boom ching, and then when you try and get them to play something more complex, they can't do it. I love that we're that way around. But I've sent 2 songs to the guys, and so far, Tim looks like he's a good worker. He gets straight onto it, so he's practicing them, and that's good, And then I have to work with John and my bassist, and generally what John and I do is we get together on our own. I've said this before, and I said it on the podcast about John, because I love John so much. He's been the best collaborator now, really, I've ever had, because we've worked for so long, but he always doubts his own ability. And so, when we get together, songs work out best when we work out stuff together, but it will start with, which he's done to me already, so, oh, I'm not sure I can play this, or, oh, this one's going to be really difficult. And I think, yeah, you'll be okay. But I really want to inject him with a sense of, look, you're amazing. And everybody who comes to see us, I don't know whether he thinks we make it up, but we all take the piss out of him because also I'm fed up with people going on about how fucking great a bass player you are, But people do. They just go, oh, he's amazing. He does, and he writes these amazing bass lines. But because he's not trained to read music or, doesn't know where all the notes are, he gets, sometimes his confidence gets to him and I can't do this. And to me, that doesn't matter. None of that matters. He's got a great feel and a sound, and you just have to get him in the right direction. So we'll do that. Gray will do his own thing, especially now he's on the percussion, because he just work on stuff, and I really like that. And Brad's working out guitar lines, and he's very good at one of them. I've just said just sort it out. The other, I have a really clear idea of what I want from him, which he hasn't quite. I don't think he's quite got that yet, but I don't know. I'm going to call him later today to see how he's going with it. So this is a period of anxiety and excitement for me, in which songs will evolve. I don't know how they're going to evolve. So no practice this week, except with John. Going to get together with John, practice the next week, possibly the week after, if we can squeeze it in. We'll be doing new stuff, and then early January we'll work more on the new stuff, and then end of January we need to get cracking on getting ready for gigs in February. We have our first gig at the moment. Our first gig is in the B Bar, which in Plymouth, which we love. We've done ones recently there which work really well, and again, don't think I've talked about it yet. I shouldn't do this very often because I can't keep into the order of things. So as Christmas arrives, it's kind of, I'm expectant, and I think for New Year maybe I'll do an episode like a review of the year, and maybe what I'm looking forward to, best hopes for the new year, really. Because I've got lots of both of those things, really, it's been a good year. Some bits have been really difficult, and I feel quite optimistic about the new year, rightly or wrongly, really, for the band. I don't know. I had originally hoped. I have a dear friend called Sean who I trained with, and he's a musician, and he listens to this podcast, I think, in Canada, and I'm really pleased that he did. And I was really hopeful. I could have tied him in with doing an episode interviewing him, but we couldn't make it work between us, and that's fine. But he is. He's always been a songwriter. I think I would describe him, and he may agree with this. I'm going to ask him about what this feels as a frustrated songwriter, because I don't think he's had the bands and the forums that have lasted to continue writing and doing music. But he still writes, I think. But he's the only person I know, and I may have mentioned this a while ago when I was hoping to pin him down, but the only person I know who's actually at our level, if you like, at street level, as I call it, written a Christmas song. And I really want to know about it. I know of it and I've heard it, but I kind of was thinking, how do you get to write a Christmas song? And why would you write a Christmas song? But it would have been perfect for this podcast. And I even wonder whether I might delay him right back until that I can do it next year, because it'd be a great thing to have on there. And to actually have a Christmas episode with a Christmas track would be fantastic, you know. They're strange things, aren't they, Christmas songs, you know. So Christmas is coming. I kind of I have a mixed relationship with Christmas. I love when my sons are here. One of my sons is coming home for Christmas. It's the first year I've only had one of them here. My youngest son can't get back because he's working, so he's in London. I'm a little bit sad about that. I'm going to miss him, but you know, he's coming back in January. That's fine. But you know, we're kind of doing Christmas a little bit different. We're going out to eat rather than eating at home, which is weird because I always cook Christmas dinner, so I kind of got to adjust to that. And giving up on some things, having some things a little bit smaller, talking with my middle son who's coming about what he wants and what bits he wants to make sure we do and what bits we do differently, and that's a period of change for me. But I'm interested to see where it goes. Yeah, the Christmas is often very emotive, and I'm really aware from the work that I do as a psychotherapist that, and before that as an OT in mental health, that for many people Christmas is the shittiest time. Really thinking of a client of mine who used to save a little bit of pocket money. He got to buy himself something at Christmas so that he could tell his friends at school that he'd got something for Christmas, because his stepfather, who used to just mainly hit him, really didn't ever get him anything for Christmas. His parents didn't bother with Christmas, and he would just have these really miserable Christmases. So when I think back on my Christmases, I've had lovely, warm. They're a thing that have been a real blessing to me as a child, because my parents were, although they didn't have a lot of money, my dad was the soppiest git when it came to Christmas. And it was a really important time for him. So he would always make a big thing of Christmas. And he had this tradition that kind of, is not popular these days, where we weren't allowed to put Christmas tree up until Christmas Eve. So I used to walk to school, a long way to school, with my older brother. And we used to play a Christmas tree game, and we used to see how many Christmas trees had been put up. Really, well, there's one there. Ask people as we walked along. We'd count them. So we'd start off, early December, and maybe there'd be one, and then we'd turn 2 or 3, and then 4. And by the time we were into, I guess we'd have broken up a week or 2 before Christmas, wouldn't we? And everywhere would have them, but we wouldn't. We'd have one in the garden. My dad would have bought. And we'd go with him, but he was really particular. And I inherited that for quite a few years, of looking at these trees and looking at them from every angle and trying to make sure they were okay. And they were just how his in-head perception of what a perfect Christmas tree should look like. Maybe I'm like that with songs, actually. I think I have to look at them from all angles. They have to have a bit that's different. They have to go off in this direction. They have to do these things. I think that's a tenuous link, because I'm actually just talking to you about Christmas now, aren't I? Because I can, because I have a podcast, But yeah, Christmas Eve, and then we would go to bed, and when we'd gone to bed, they would, put presents under the tree and stuff like that. And then my dad would decorate the house downstairs. And we're of a generation where, it's paper streamers going across the ceilings, balloons. We'd have these little, I don't know what you call them. I call them a little concertina thing. That's like they were too flat. They were flat, and then you'd sort of, I don't know, open them up in as if they were a circle, and they would create a sort of solid thing made of paper. They were really, really clever things. If somebody knows what they're called. And we'd have Chinese lanterns we used to put, and all this stuff would be there when you'd come down in the morning. It was so exciting, so exciting. And so although I painstakingly had to wait for the entire flipping time till Christmas Eve, and I started this tradition with my children, but I quickly got knocked back. So it would be probably a week before Christmas we'd do it with the kids, So I've always enjoyed the closeness of being with my kids, and sometimes with family. Though, what we did over more recent years is we just became very insular at Christmas, and with my 3 sons, and then when my eldest went over to Thailand to live with my 2 sons, we would have Christmases just as a nuclear family, and I always enjoyed it. And we've been lucky enough to have 2 of them continue that right through to, what were 23, 28? No, not 23, 28. 23, 27, 24, 27. I can't work it out. That's no good, is it? Right, I've got to work this out. That's ridiculous, isn't it? 1998 is 27. So my middle son is 27. 2002, and my youngest is 23. There we go, 27, 23. Doesn't seem to make sense in my brain, but I think that's probably right. 98, 2002. That's right, isn't it? Yeah. I think there's 3 years between them. That's why I can't work that out. But there we go, 23, 24, around those ages. And up until last year, we've had them both with us every year. And, when I can be in the moment, I really enjoy it. And when I get caught up in either reminiscing or some family dynamics and issues and stuff around, or the world, or I can get quite morose at Christmas. And so I've had many traditions like people do, personal traditions and family traditions, and I've tried to let go of a lot of personal traditions over time because they're a bit weird, or a bit, nothing weird, but like I try and to read a Christmas Carol every year before Christmas, and you get to a point where I think, I'm not really enjoying this, but I feel like I have to do it, because I've done it so many times. I know the whole story off by heart and things like that. I think so. I'm trying to reinvent myself, as I do in music and I do with bands. I try and reinvent myself and refine Christmas, and this is a new period to do that, of not necessarily relying that our sons will be back at different times and in different ways, and maybe with partners, and that's fantastic. But in a sense, because they've been with us all the time, all the way through, that childhood notion of Christmas with them, even as adults, and moving through and changing, has continued right up until my youngest is 23. So that's been amazing. But I've always known that would end at some point. I think the hardest bit this year has been that I wasn't expecting that with my youngest. He's working as well as being at university, and he can't get work, and that's fine. But I think when my eldest, and I knew he wasn't going to be there after that Christmas, I was really in the moment. I spent a really good Christmas of just being with them and just having fun and just enjoying it, really. And I wish I'd known that last year, because maybe I was a little bit more distracted last year. But it's okay. It's all good. It's not like they're never coming back. But Christmas does this stuff to you. It creates these emotions, doesn't it? Maybe that's why Christmas songs are so kind of weird, because mostly in songs I try and write about something that's real, and maybe the Christmas song you try and write about something that's either a fantasy, or it's not real for everybody, or it's kind of, I don't know. It's an interesting process. Wow, Christmas. I wasn't really expecting to talk about that, but there we go. But, I'm looking forward to Christmas this year, because it's going to be different. And, my middle son is wonderful and lovely. I'm looking forward to spending time with him. And, he's got some ideas of what we might do as well, really, that might make things a bit different at Christmas. And, it's going to be good. Right, I'm going to go, I think. I'm getting cold feet. You won't know that. I've got no shoes on, because I had some welly boots on. I was outside, and I've taken them off to come in and do this. Look, this is probably going to go out probably the day after Boxing Day, so I hope you've had a good Christmas, and I'm going to do another one, as I say, I think, if I get my finger out to do it for New Year, really. And then on we go with the podcast, onwards and upwards in interviews, and I'm trying to pin myself down to contact a woman called Holly, who's agreed to do a podcast with me. I've approached a charity that's not got back, that try and support young children and creativity, and I wanted to talk to them, so I'm hoping to get back to them. The Ragdolls, that lovely young indie band, really keen to do it, but we've put that back till January, and I seem to have lost touch with Heartwood, and I'm sure that will come back at some point. And then I'm on to thinking about new people I might speak to, really. Right. Look after yourselves and enjoy the rest of the Christmas break, and I will be back. And, please, if you're looking for something to do for Christmas, check out the band. #Music the Curve. I've got to say that every time, haven't I? Or you can sort of binge these episodes of, if you come across this for the first time, think, wow, what a nice guy. Let's go back and listen to what he's done so far and prepare myself for the direction ahead. Take care.